All right. Hi. Welcome to our kind of configurator data structure series of videos. This video, I'm going to be talking about all the different components of the data-driven configurator samples. So we're going to be showing you how to build them by scratch from hand. And it can be a tedious process, and we built utilities to automate this, but it's important to kind of run through it once, or at least just watch these videos so you see how all these pieces talk to each other, and how we're using Omniverse as kind of a platform and taking in different features of it to build a system on top of it. This is going to help you take these configurator samples and customize them and make them your own, or help you debug things if you're trying to use these and things aren't working as you expect. When you know how all the foundational bits work, you're just going to have a better understanding, set yourself up for success. So we're going to start with this. In this data structure folder, we're going to stay in this folder. Everything we need is going to be in here. So we're going to start with this empty configurator file. And when you open this up, we have a file that's already been set up to do kind of the basics of an early data-driven configurator. So there's this system startup graph. If you open this up, all of these graphs are designed to kind of be fiddled with and customized. They're all commented, so most of these should have a start here part, so you can read that and just kind of follow along. So system startup is the thing that kind of manages the beginning of your configurator. You need something to start things running. So we have some events that do that, and we have the start and stop config event. So once you start the configurator, it's just going to do this block of logic, and when you stop the configurator, it's going to do these things. So you can customize it by adding more logic down here. You can change the way some of this works, but this is going to be like the starting point of getting your configurator set up to work the way you want it. You'll also see there's a camera already in here, and the startup is actually already set up to trigger the camera when you start. The camera itself has a whole bunch of logic, similar things, and it's a reference. So if you go find this reference and open it up, you can see how we manage camera activations and camera orbiting and free look and things like that. Those are all also documented, but we're not going to go over them in this video. This series of videos is mostly just for the data structure. And then we have some basic backdrops and a folder, a scope here for when you want to drop in some of your assets to get started. All right, so now we have our empty scene. We're going to start putting in some configuration things. So the first step is we're going to need to build a data structure. The whole point of this is data-driven. So data structure is a series of prims that we designed that are really just building a database in USD. They're pretty simple and straightforward, but the point of it is that by having a database in USD, anything can write to that database. And then we're going to add logic separately from the database. We're going to add brains, basically, an action graph, so that it knows what to do when the database is updated. So that way, you don't necessarily have to build this through action graph or through Python UI. Anything that can talk to Omniverse can be writing these USD files and writing these USD data formats, and then down the line, all these other pieces that will be bolting onto here will all know what to do, and everything's all compartmentalized and kind of self-sufficient. So in the prims folder, we have these 4 database prims. And so our data structure is going to look like this. We're going to start on the top level, which is the parent. And you'll see that this is just a reference that's just a single scope with nothing else in it. And the only real thing in here is the scope has this attribute that we added to the scope. You can do that yourself with this button here. And it's called current category. So all these things, really all they're doing is, again, they're just building out a structure of data. So under data structure, we're going to have categories. So categories are your first layer. So a category in a configurator sense would be like interior customizations, wheel customizations, environment customizations. That's the thing that holds all the options. This one is a little different. It has an extra folder here, but the main category scope has its own set of customized attributes mixed in amongst the raw properties. Below category, we have options. So we're going to build it like this. So now inside the category of, let's say it's called interior options, we now have options for what are the available configurable options in this category. So maybe this one is red leather. And then we drop in another option into the category. We call this like black leather, for example. You could also just duplicate these. The names of what these prims are also doesn't matter. So then inside the option, we have these behaviors, and behaviors are telling you what set of behaviors contributes to doing this option. So maybe one of the behaviors is, I'm writing these out so we can kind of follow along. So this is going to be set passenger seat to red. And then the other one is going to be set driver seat to red. And these are all variants. This is everything we're doing here is going to be driven by variants. So this structure is just kind of outlining how your variants are grouped together so that when you trigger the red leather option, it's going to run this sets of variants. And then when you have maybe more than one category, I had another category, we'll call it exterior. Which one of these is currently active? So the data structure knows which one I'm in, and then the categories themselves know which one of these options is currently picked. So we're going to go through assembling these next, but just to review, right, this is really just a very straightforward database. It's just a bucket to hold data in, and we're just going to do that data entry next by hand.